Hello, and welcome to Village in Motion. This is September 20th, Tuesday, and I'm Marcia Boyles, your host this morning. I'm delighted to begin our Village in Motion this morning by introducing our Assistant Director at Garden Ridge. Michael, welcome. This is Michael Worley. Michael, you're not a known commodity around here. You haven't been here very long.
About 5 months or so.
About 5 months.
Yep.
All right. All right. And this is your first appearance, you told me, on Channel 6.
It sure is.
Your
I'm excited to be here.
We're delighted to have you.
All right, thank you.
For your debut performance. Michael, tell us what is on the agenda. We're certainly aware of the fact that there are that there still are a number of staff positions, major staff positions at Garden Ridge that I believe are still unfilled. Tell us where you are in that process of hiring.
Sure, absolutely. So we've spent the 5 months that I've been here, and George came a few months later, and Adrian also. We spent.
Now remind us what their positions are.
So George is the director of continuing care. I support him as the assistant director, and then Adrian is our director of nursing. Us three are kind of a big team there, and oversee the whole kind of operation at Garden Ridge. But as far as open positions, we've had, before we came here, we already had a few. And then, of course, when the changeover came, we had even more. So we've spent a good portion of our time making sure we find the right staff member to fill the position. So not just filling because we need somebody there, but to make sure that who we're putting there will take us where we want to go, if that makes sense. Because we want to make sure we're trying to create a better atmosphere for our residents there at Garden Ridge. So by bringing somebody who's creative, who understands policies and procedures, who we can trust in that position, that's what we're looking for. So that's why it may seem like it's taking longer than usual. But as far as open positions, we've filled 2 QCCs, which are...
Now, what is a QCC?
Quality Care Coordinator. The kind of normal term you'll hear is charge nurse, so a nursing manager for that floor. That was for Rose Court 3 and Rose Court 4. However, we still do have a QCC open for Evergreen 2, which is our short-term rehab. Latoya Goodman is currently covering that. She's also our assistant director of nursing, so she's covering 2 positions, but her office is primarily there to cover and support that neighborhood.
Do you have lots of applicants?
We do. So we spend a lot, George, myself, and Adrian, we spend a lot of our week in interviews.
But going through resumes?
Absolutely. I think we kind of joke around sometimes and say, hey, the last 5 years I've been, or 6 years I've been with Erickson, this is the most interviews I've done in a 5-month span that I have in 5 years.
All right. So you're doing lots of interviews?
Lots of interviews. We have, we're working closely with our partners in HR and recruitment to bring in the staff to interview, but it just takes time, and then you have to go through the offer process and getting them onboarded. So right now, one of our QCCs, Seydu, who we hired last month, he's spending the week up at Riderwood to see how they work and their tenure there. So he's working with the QCC who's been there for 12 years and say, hey, this is how we do things here. Green Spring's going to be a little bit different, but as far as the overall structure and policies and procedures, it's going to be the same. So,
Michael, are there applicants that are coming in from other Erickson communities? Does that happen in these kinds of positions?
It does. It happened to me.
Well, I was going to say, and I want to come to you.
Yeah. Sure. We do and we don't. The reason why is it's very similar to what happened at Ashby when we lost a lot of staff to Ashby when they opened up because it's in the same neighborhood. But other than that, it's really not.
All right. So people are not going to be coming from Texas or Baltimore.
No. Unless it's like a hop, skip, and a jump, as far as a promotion, which could be a QCC, but, that's a big commitment to come from Texas or Kansas.
I dare say, yes.
So absolutely.
All right. Now, you came from Riderwood. How long were you there?
I've been at Riderwood since January of 2011, so about,
All right, about
I'll
5
become
years.
5 years, yeah, before I came.
And were you in the same position there that you are here?
It was very interesting. So not at first. I actually started at Riderwood as a college intern.
Oh, you did?
I certainly did.
Now,
So
did you do that master's program at University of Maryland?
I did not. I was doing the healthcare administration or healthcare management program at Towson University.
At Towson.
Maryland doesn't have, University of Maryland College Park doesn't have a administration. They have health science. So that's kind of what I wanted to do my focus on. So I started under John Mann as a nursing home administrator as his intern for 6 months, and then got hired in admissions, so sales and marketing for the continuing care side. And worked my way through and became the admissions director, and I did that for a few years. And when the administrator in training position opened up, I decided that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in administration in healthcare, and that's kind of how I ended up at Riderwood as far as the assistant administrator, and then a couple months later I transitioned here because the opportunity was better as far as learning and development. The reason why is there was already another assistant administrator at Riderwood, so there was 2 of us, and when you have 2, you mean you have to split up the work. So I kind of wanted to take on that whole task of putting my sleeves up and kind of jumping in, and with all the flux that we've had here, I thought that it would be a great opportunity to kind of teach our George, who came from outside of the company, and Adrian, to kind of help them, mentor them as far as the Erickson way, but where they can help me as kind of my development so one day I can be a director of continuing care. So it was kind of a win-win. Of course, the commute's bad, but
You said you were still living up in Sandy Spring.
Yeah, well, I'm still up there in Maryland. So lately it's been really bad because of the metro and all the shortages going there. But at the end of the day, I love what I do. I love being at Erickson and, of course, Green Spring. But you take it for granted. It's not going to be a 5-year plan, but I'm just going to take it day by day and kind of we'll work on it. And we spoke earlier about my wife's still in school in Maryland. So, but my main focus is here and kind of moving us and Garden Ridge forward. So,
is the Riderwood equivalent of Garden Ridge about the same size?
Let's see. We're pretty kind of split here at Garden Ridge. We're so Green Spring, we have 145 so, or 146 assisted living beds, and then in skilled nursing we have about 136. So it's pretty equal. At Riderwood we have much more assisted living, and then we have a lot less skilled nursing. So we have about 112 beds of skilled nursing at Riderwood, and then as I was leaving, we were developing 50 more. 41 new apartments for assisted living. So we just went through that kind of phase. So right now, I think
you also have a dedicated memory care.
Dedicated memory care too, also, which falls under the assisted living licensure. But I think Riderwood pushes about 350 total beds.
So it does. Versus ours is 200.
283. So it's a bit bigger, but maybe with our repositioning, I don't know what the final numbers are on that. We may be close to 300 or so. But you have to remember Riderwood's independent living's bigger.
Yes,
so
of course.
When you have more independent living residents, you need a bigger CC, and that's kind of what that covers. But pretty much the same structure as far as management and kind of the way we do business. It's just different people, really. So
right.
That's all it
They're
is.
Marylanders versus
Marylanders.
Virginian.
There you go.
Yes.
So, and the DMV is very similar. So the whole area, you see a lot of the same insurances. A lot of residents came here because of government jobs. So they have the Blue Cross Blue Shield or the TRICARE, and it's really neat, though.
I suspect there are many similarities between the populations,
Absolutely.
the resident populations.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Michael, you have several events coming up that you wanted to mention.
Yeah, we do. We spend a lot of time making sure that our residents are doing things outside of the norm. So not just eating 3 meals a day and playing bingo and whatever they're doing on a daily basis, but we want to do things up and above and beyond. So what we're doing this Friday at lunchtime, we're doing a crab feast.
A crab feast?
For our residents. So we're having a crab truck come in, hot steamed crabs.
Now, Michael, let me ask you this. Can independent living folks come flocking over? Because I think if we could, we would.
Sure. That's a good question. I think that's a great question to shoot a phone call or an email to Renee Budd, who can answer that question directly. I know we do have a limit on who we can have just because they bring a certain amount of crabs.
Of course you can.
And you work within a kind of how much room you have. So, and then also with the crab feast, we're doing hush puppies, fried catfish, and beer even for the residents.
Oh my goodness, getting better and better.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's exciting. And then on Sunday, what we're going to do is we're going to be part of the Northern Virginia Alzheimer's Association walk. So we're doing that in Northern Virginia on Sunday. I think it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the actual walk is, but we'll be getting there early. There's probably about...
Now that's at Reston Town Center, do I remember?
It sure is. Same thing as last year. We donate to the Alzheimer's Association, and then we provide the walk. And we also use it kind of as a, hey, we're Green Spring, we're still here. So some interesting facts, and it's great to kind of be out there and support, this cause, and we really take it seriously. So it's exciting and also to see your colleagues there and come in on a Sunday and bring your dogs and your kids and your spouses. So it's exciting. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a bus over from here?
I know the independent living signups are still going on. That's a Catherine Noble sign-up area and expertise as far as the bus and the transportation. Okay. So I believe so. I believe the bus is still going. I just don't know how many spots are left. So if anybody's interested in joining us on Sunday, they can certainly reach out to Catherine Noble and see kind of where the spots are and the timing around that. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think both of these sound like excellent events. You indicated that they're still doing the sidewalks over there.
Yep. So according to the Life Safety Code, which changed in 2012 when our fire marshal came in, not that when we first built the building, it was up to code, but that was 2001. So, of course, as the years progressed.
Have the codes changed?
The codes have changed. Yes, it costs money, but, we know they're looking at the safety of our residents. So we've been working on that, but the problem is they give you a time frame, and to work with contractors and permitting and licensure
and the weather.
Exactly. So one thinks, how do you get all this done in 60 days? So we're pushing through. We're working with a great contractor. They're working on weekends, extra hours. So we have it in stages, 4 stages. We've already finished 2 stages, so we only have 2 more to go, and we're looking at about a early to mid-October finish date on that. So if you see the new beautiful sidewalks, that's kind of what's going on. So, but we're excited to see that finished, and then we can move on to something else. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure everybody's going to be delighted to have that finished. And clearly, with codes, one doesn't exactly have a choice.
You're right. Our hands are kind of behind our back, per se. And this is a state fire marshal, not a county.
Oh my goodness. So, they brought in the big guns.
Exactly. So you kind of have to work with both. It's almost like the regulations regarding the nursing home piece in assisted living. You have, well, more than nursing home, but you have federal and then you have state regulations.
You do.
So you have to work with both of them.
I was not aware of that. So there are actually federal standards for
nursing homes. Yeah.
All right. Now, is that all the floors, or is that just assisted living?
It would be just 3 floors. So the skilled nursing floors, which are Rose Court 3 and 4, and then Evergreen 2. And then the other floors are assisted living. That's assisted living codes would be state codes.
And the short-term rehab,
which would fall under federal and state.
Oh my heavens! I had no idea.
Yeah.
So, do you actually then get visits by the regulators?
Absolutely, once a year.
Both federal and state.
You got it.
Whew.
Yeah.
Are they quite different, the codes?
So it's very funny. Some will fall into each other, but the better one, I guess, precedes the other one. So or supersedes.
The higher
rather.
standard.
Yeah. So if, like, for example, if you have a a room where you can fit more than one person in. So we have private rooms, but say we had semi-private rooms. The federal code may say you can have 6 people, 6 residents in one room, and then the state code says no, no, no. Only 4. We have to go with that 4. We can't go with the 6.
So in
because that
some
would be
cases,
violent.
they actually contradict each other.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So our job as administrators is to look at the overall operation, but and stay within the regulations. So it can be tough and a daunting task at times because every state has different regulations. Federal codes or federal regulations stay the same, but
right.
It's once you get in the hang of things and the swing of things, you kind of understand it a little bit more. And our corporate partners are a big help with regards to that, and especially life safety. So with the sidewalks we're going through right now, that's a whole life safety. That's a different even regulation. Which
Michael, what is the rationale for having both state and federal regulations for Garden Ridge equivalents?
That's a great question. The only thing, I don't want to tell you the wrong answer. I think the only thing you have to think about is, you have federal laws, all of us do, and then you have state laws, and different laws are different from state to state. So that's the only thing I can kind of come up with right now.
The short answer is probably there is no particular rationale.
And that may be the case too. I just don't know. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's very interesting, and it certainly does put an extra strain, I would think, on folks running Garden Ridge type.
Absolutely, but
places.
if we're doing a great job and we're being ethical and we're providing exceptional care to our residents, we really have nothing to worry about. We're all human; things slide through the cracks, but usually, hopefully, they're small and we can get them quick. But you're right. But it's part of the business, and healthcare is very regulated, and actually,
yes,
elder care is even one of the most regulated industries in the U.S. So,
yes, no. I think the rationale for regulations of equivalent places for Garden Ridge absolutely makes sense. I mean, we know they have to be regulated. I just wondered whether there were discrepancies between the two, and how this was justified.
Absolutely.
So no, it's an interesting situation. Well, Michael, I see that we're running low on time here. Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with today?
I would think that's it, but I just want to wish everybody a happy Tuesday, and we're pushing through, and I'm excited. If I see anybody at that crab feast, I will be partaking in that. So, but no, I think that's it for Garden Ridge right now.
Well, we certainly thank you for coming on today, and this is just the first, I'm sure, of many appearances.
All right.
So we'll welcome you back.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We'll stop now and have a roll-in.